Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Day 129 of Israel's war on Gaza. That's right. We have been here for 129 days discussing the devastating bombardment and siege and all-out violence in the Gaza Strip. And as promised, I'm going to be here every single day giving you the latest details, the latest developments, all the available information on what's happening there. We're about to get started. I know it's late in the day, but we at least wanted to give you all a quick shout out, show some love, and answer some questions for you. So let's do that. MB 2.0, shout out to you, Nicole Whitaker. Yeah, you up in here first. Ed Ladawi, peace. Everybody drop your location, your city, your state, your country. Let us know where you're calling in from. Super Anonymous writing in all the way from Somalia. The name is Abdullah or Rehan Haj writing in. Appreciate you. Dominic from Hanoi. Ooh, we all over the place today. I love it. I love it. I love it. JD from Vancouver. You know what I mean? I got to show some love to Beyond Ebony. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. MLH family member, of course. We got another MLH family member here, Mohammed Bakhet. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody who's writing in. Michelle and Wash, always good to see you, of course. So many MLH family members. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right now if you want to keep this thing going. We love it. We appreciate it. We're going to get started really fast, though. Again, day 129 of Israel's war on Gaza, and some updates that I want to give you. I want to start with the actual numbers. The war on Gaza to this moment has killed 28,340 Palestinians. It's also wounded 67,984 Palestinians since October 7th. This death toll is a stunning number, and again, it stands in sharp contrast to Israel's number, which is 1,139. Incredible numbers, incredibly low numbers on the Israeli side relative to the Palestinian side. Of course, all death is regrettable. All death is unfortunate. All death is tragic. I'm not saying the Israeli numbers are low. Over 1,000, particularly in one day, is astronomical, and it's tragic. Unfortunately, though, the response by the state of Israel has been so disproportionate, so overwhelming, that we end up where we are now. Jordan's king, Abdullah II, tells Joe Biden, the U.S. president, that the world, quote, cannot afford Israel's planned ground invasion on Rafah, where more than 1.4 million people are sheltering. This is important. Even powers that are normally pro-Israel, powers that are normally pro-U.S., they're speaking up and they're saying, wait a minute, we need to do something here. This is too far. There's a ground invasion being planned in Rafah, which is a city in the southern part of Gaza. And Rafah normally has a couple 100,000 people in it. It now has over 1 million people in it. And the density of the Gaza Strip is intensified by the fact that Rafah is incredibly dense. And people, why are people there? Well, because they fled the north. They fled the center of the Strip, all to avoid being hit by Israeli fire, having their homes destroyed with them in it, bombings, everything. They said, we'll leave and we'll head to Rafah. And now that Rafah is there, is there in full, the Israeli government is basically saying too many people are there. The Israeli government is basically saying y'all need to leave. And they're saying they need to leave because of a proposed ground invasion. The proposed ground invasion is because allegedly Hamas is there and infiltrating, and that it's like a hub. So this town that has 1.4 million people in it and is incredibly dense is filled with people. It's filled with almost half of the Strip. It's also filled with people who have lost their homes. It's filled with people who have lost their children. People who've lost children who've lost their parents. It's filled with people who have no material belongings. It's filled with people whose cars are no longer available if they had them. And they're being asked to leave Rafah and head 20 kilometers, about 8 miles north. What the world sees, what King Abdullah of Jordan sees, and what every person with eyes and a little bit of intelligence can see, is that if a ground invasion happens there, people are stuck. People are going to die. The humanitarian crisis is going to intensify because there'll be no aid, there'll be no food, there'll be no electricity, there'll be no water, there'll be no way to take care of the sick. All of this is happening anyway, but we'll be doubling down on it if we invade, if Israel invades Rafah. So that's that. So at the top of our list should be stopping the invasion of Rafah. Shout out to you, by the way, Advocate Fatima. We appreciate your love. We appreciate the support. That's where we are. Israeli citizens have shot 2 Palestinians and set fire to vehicles and destroyed property in what has been an incredible night of settler violence in the West Bank. As you know, it's 11:42 where I am in the East Coast, which means that it's 6:42 in Palestine right now. And overnight, we've seen more settler violence. Settler violence is something that it never stops. But since October 7th, it also has intensified. Hamas says 3 more Israeli captives have been killed in Israel's bombardment of the besieged Gaza Strip. This is another point. It's hard to know whether Hamas is telling the truth or not. But what we know is there are hostages. That's a fact. And we know Israel keeps bombing and killing indiscriminately. That's a fact. And so when hostages are dying from the Israeli bombings, one could say, oh, well, Hamas is probably just killing them and using this as a scapegoat. Or what is probably more likely is that they're actually dying in the same rubble, dying in the same bombings, dying in the same acts of violence that everyone else is. And so they're making Hamas's claim legitimate, even if you want to believe otherwise. Anyway, we'll keep going because we ain't got a lot of time tonight. In fact, I'm actually going to pause there and this was supposed to be just a quick update. And so I'm going to leave the update right there. Basically, the death toll is high. And it's not going to get lower. 28,000 is devastating. But it will be 30,000. It'll be 35,000 before we know it, if there's not an intervention. The world is calling for a ceasefire, and no one is listening. Yusuf writes in and says, Egypt needs to step up and protect our people. I mean, Egypt can take people in. Egypt can offer a humanitarian hand. But let's be very clear, this is not on Egypt. And part of why Egypt has made a decision not to immediately open the border and immediately receive all of those people was not out of malice or even out of indifference. And it wasn't even just because they don't have the structural capacity to hold those people. It was because they didn't want to create the conditions for another Nakba. They didn't want to create another situation where people flee thinking they're getting safety and rescue and refuge, only to not be allowed to return home. So it's just something to think about. All right, family. I don't see any other questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm exhausted and tired, but I wanted to at least give some kind of update before the end of the night. Day 129 is stunning. We're going to keep fighting, y'all. All right. Hit the like button if you feel what I'm talking about. Also hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Hit the join button if you're so inclined. Become a member of the channel so you can help financially support the channel if that's something you want to do. And of course, the Cash App is also available. If you go to Cash App, $MLHTV. That's Cash App, $MLHTV. Drop something in and you help us to support the channel, to add voices, to build the studio, all of the things. So we appreciate you. We love you. And I'll be back tomorrow hopefully with some rest so that we can talk soon. All right. Peace.